Today on Hearts of Heroes, a kitchen fire threatens a family home.
I just saw flames shooting up from my stove.
I was like, ah!
Plus,
A wife called saying that her husband was missing and that he had dementia.
a high-risk situation calls for a high-tech rescue.
Immediately, I put the drone up.
We weren't able to find them in the first few places.
We were really fighting against dusk setting in.
And later,
Everything was going well until I heard the alarm go off.
unlikely heroes are called to action when a senior living complex goes up in flames.
Many residents had walkers and wheelchairs.
I just knew I had to go up there and get them people down.
These heroes would go above and beyond to save the lives of those in need. You don't always have to wear a uniform or a badge to become a hero.
Just ask the little girl who quite literally saved the day. She proves that when it comes to fire safety, you're just never too young to step up and do the right thing. Jacksonville, Florida. Miles of ocean, long stretches of rivers, and a close-knit beach community. It's really a wonderful place to raise a young family.
I currently live here with my wife, Megan, and my daughter, Amelia.
We should follow the voice that you always hear.
Oh, you're right. Okay, we gotta listen.
My daughter is 5 years old.
Be careful.
She's very charismatic and outgoing, for sure.
She's a brilliantly smart girl.
This girl's smarts would be put to the test when she faced a fiery disaster one summer afternoon.
It was pretty much a normal day. She said, I want French fries and I want chicken nuggets. So I started making her lunch.
After lunch, Daniel stepped away from the kitchen for a moment.
This is where everything happened, and Amelia was standing right here.
Alone in the kitchen, Amelia saw that the air fryer on top of the stove was on fire.
I was listening to music and I saw the fire. It looked so red and it was orange. I was like, ah! I was so scared that it was gonna overflow the house.
Amelia did the right thing. The very moment she saw smoke, she got the attention of the nearest adult. In this case, her dad, Daniel.
She comes running in. She's imaginative, so I didn't really necessarily become alarmed right away. And I was just thinking that she was kind of playing me. She was like, Dad, you have to come see this. So initially, I was just like, okay, Amelia, what do I have to come see?
Not fazed, the 5-year-old insisted that Daniel follow her to the kitchen.
I turned the corner out of my room and I saw that the stove was on fire. I didn't know why there was a fire there. I just saw flames shooting up from my stove. I knew that I didn't have a lot of time to react. I said, Amelia, get outside.
And I was super scared that it was gonna catch the whole house on fire.
I first went for the fire extinguisher. Unfortunately, the fire extinguisher that I normally kept under the sink was across at my parents' house. I realized that I just needed to grab the air fryer and get it out of the house. I grabbed it off of the stove, and as fast as I could, I ran it out here, I opened the door, and I threw it back into the pool to put the fire out.
I was kind of like, dude, what are you doing?
The plastic had started melting and started dripping everywhere. Some of it got onto my feet, burned up my feet pretty good.
With the fire extinguished, Daniel made a call to his wife, Megan.
I was like, is Amelia okay? Are you okay? I don't care, this house can burn down. Like, as long as my family's safe, that was my main concern. And when I walk into the house, the first thing I did was hug Amelia, and she goes, I saved the house from a fire, I'm a hero.
This near-tragic experience taught the family an important lesson in fire safety.
One of the things was, if you see smoke and there's a fire, to make sure that you get out of the house. We made sure that she knew the exits, and she did. She was definitely our hero in all of this, and I think, you know, had she not reacted the way that she did, that we may not have this beautiful home that we have right now.
Okay. She goes, I love you.
up next.
She came home and he wasn't there.
First responders used drones to try to save a man lost in the wild.
It was getting darker. I was getting worried.
And later, a high-rise apartment fire calls for heroic action from the staff.
There were flames coming out of the window. It was chaotic.
Just knew I had to go up there and get them people down.
But first, a tip to help you avoid a fire starting in your house.
Some fires are out of our control, but did you know that a majority of avoidable fires start in the kitchen?
Walking away from cooking food can quickly lead to dangerous and deadly flames that can engulf your home in a matter of minutes. If you have to walk away, be sure to turn the stove off before you go.
Sometimes leaving your stove unattended can result in much worse than a burnt meal. That's why we urge you to practice cooking safely. Whether for our jobs or in our homes, the technology boom has changed our lives.
When an elderly man was lost outdoors, first responders used a drone to find him before the danger of darkness settled in. The small township of Bovina is located in a mostly rural part of Wisconsin. While the barely interfered with land might look like something from centuries past, the sheriff's department there utilizes a very modern innovation.
The Outagamie County Sheriff's Office has had a drone program for about 2 years. We've got 10 drone operators that do this in addition to their various assignments within the department. We use the drones in various ways, such as tactical response, officer safety, search and rescue efforts, just to name a few.
The nice thing about these drones is that it is able to cover a wide area in a shorter amount of time.
These mini helicopters are equipped with regular and thermal imaging cameras that can detect a person by sensing just their body heat.
So we've set up an exercise here where we have somebody hiding in an open field right here, and we're going to attempt to locate that person utilizing our thermal imaging.
Here he is lying, and you can make it out plain as day. It gets so detailed that you can even see slight movements, right, and even chest rise.
This high-tech device would be instrumental one evening in July of 2022.
A wife called saying that her husband was missing and that he had dementia.
She said she had left in the morning, then came home at night, and he wasn't there.
I assigned officers to do a thorough search of the residence.
There's no sign of him in the house at all.
You have an idea, there is trails on the property?
Yes.
First responders began searching the rest of the property.
The house was completely surrounded by woods and thick underbrush, which makes a ground search very difficult.
When we weren't able to find him in the first few places, it was getting darker. I was getting worried.
Immediately, I put the drone up, but we were really fighting against the dusk setting in. A needle on a haystack would be probably the most accurate description of what we were trying to locate in this male.
Suddenly, Sergeant Van Handel got a hit.
I had recognized the heat signature. When I had moved in with the drone, I saw that there was a male lying in tall grass, not moving, and it didn't appear to be optimistic at the surface.
Officer Kerr Yang followed the drone to the man's location, unsure if he was still alive.
As soon as I reached him, I touched him, he became startled. That's when I figured out he was still alive.
He was confused, a little bit banged up, but in good spirits and ready to be reunited with his family.
We ended up putting him on a longboard, and we put him in the back of a Outagamie County Sheriff's car and drove him up. He did make a full recovery, and he was home.
It was an amazing feeling to see him still alive, be able to tell his wife that, hey, we found your husband and he's alive and he's here with us today and you'll be with him shortly.
The drone program has really been a game changer for our department.
I believe the drone was instrumental in finding him and recovering him safely.
It was a surreal moment and definitely takes the cake in my career. That moment will stick with me for the rest of my life.
Coming up,
We've got a building full of seniors. Some of them can't walk.
We see flames just going all up the wall. It was crazy.
For folks that live in senior living facilities, the staff and administrators become like a second family, dependable friends who are always there.
When a fire broke out in a high-rise senior home, workers and staff would band together in a dangerous attempt to save the elderly residents.
Ypsilanti, Michigan is a small city between Detroit and Ann Arbor. The city is home to the Michigan Firehouse Museum, built on the location of an original 1895 firehouse. Today, the 3 fire departments around Ypsilanti share resources and support one another.
The city of Ypsilanti, as well as Ypsilanti Township and Superior Township, all respond to fires in each other's jurisdictions.
Clark East Tower is a senior community that has 200 apartments that provides affordable housing for seniors in the area.
Life in these towers is easygoing. It consists of a complex of apartments and common areas where residents and staff are like one big family.
I appreciate each and every one of them, I really do.
But the dedication of this family would be tested in February of 2021, when a sudden fire erupted in the 7-story apartment complex.
That particular day, we had a snowstorm come in, and it was like 12 inches we got that day. So we were out there shoveling snow.
Everything was going well until I heard the alarm go off.
I had seen it was on the 6th floor. I ran upstairs, and that's where I met my coworker, Keith.
Before we can even get down the hallway, this lady coming out her apartment, choking, and smoke coming out the door. And we see flames just going all up the wall. It was crazy. My first reaction was like, we gotta get these people out of here.
Call 911, we have a fire at 6:05.
And immediately we just start knocking on doors, telling people they need to get out.
You could tell it was a big fire.
Because the alarm was going off, you couldn't take the elevator. And some of these people can't go down the stairs real good. So we had to help them go down the stairs, 7 flights.
Meanwhile, dispatch went out to the 3 local fire departments.
As we were coming down Clark Road, we could see the column of smoke coming over the roof of the building, so that indicated to us that we had a good working fire.
The biggest difficulty, I would say, was the people going down the stairwells while we're going up. We had 4 firefighters in full gear going upstairs while 100 people are coming down the same stairwell.
Property manager Robin Warden was at a dental appointment when she heard about the fire.
I got the first injection to be numbed, and my phone rang. And they said the building's on fire. So I got in the car, drove back. I seen the black smoke just rolling out of the top of the building. I have 3 residents on that floor that had oxygen. So my first call was make sure the firemen know that this unit, and this unit have oxygen going.
Ordinarily, we'd get everybody out of the building. There was no way, because it was freezing, the snow was coming down, so we had to just think. So I says, open up the multi-purpose room, open up the library, get them in there.
I was stressed because I didn't know what I was going to do.
It was devastating to them. Naturally, the residents were in a panic.
Coming up, everyone inside Clark East Tower faces an uncertain future.
Everybody was displaced. They didn't have anywhere to go.
But first, this safety tip.
As a restoration specialist, I've seen just about every type of fire you can imagine. And apartment blazes like we just saw are all too common.
That's why it's so important to have an escape plan for any situation in which you might find yourself. Pay attention to where exits and extinguishers are located. And if you're ever caught in a building fire, stay low and under the smoke. Get down, get low, and get out.
It only takes a moment to check out your surroundings, and it could potentially save your life.
When a fire started in a 7-story senior living facility, the entire staff jumped in to make sure that the 200 residents made it out.
You had maintenance, you had housekeepers. That helped evacuate those rooms and get those folks out of harm's way and get them downstairs.
After many hours, firefighters were able to put out the blaze and keep it confined to one apartment. But just because fire damage was kept to a minimum didn't mean that the residents were out of the woods. The tower, their home, was uninhabitable.
The fire wasn't the problem. It was the water damage after the fact. Water everywhere. It just came through the electrical outlets. It came down through the walls.
Anytime there's an abundance of water, electricity is exceedingly dangerous. Never, ever go near a live power cable if you're standing in liquid of any type.
When we found out that we had to evacuate the building, it was a bomb dropped on us.
Out of all the 200 and something residents that we had, only like 60 went to family. Everybody else was displaced. They didn't have anywhere to go.
My role was to find housing for those that had to be relocated. We were lucky enough to find 3 hotels all next door to each other that we were able to house our residents in.
With everyone safely relocated, our sponsor, Belfour Property Restoration, got to work, transforming the facility.
We had 9 units on every floor from the 6th down to the 1st affected from the water.
You had to be real careful of where you walked as far as trip hazards, that type of stuff.
Electricity, we got to make sure we got our rubber boots on, rubber gloves. You got to make sure nobody gets electrocuted.
Every week we were turning back over a floor to the complex.
After just a few months, the building was as good as new and ready to welcome everybody home.
The day the last resident came home, we had music.
They had signs held up saying, "Welcome home." And that was a great feeling.
To be able to see the smiles of our residents that they were able to return home to a clean, safe building was just the best ever.
After the restoration was complete, Sheldon Yellen of Belfour wanted to give a special thanks to the family of heroes at Clark East Tower.
Well, here we are, once again, with some real-life heroes. All you did was put 200 people first, and you didn't stop, you didn't think about it, and you have proven, once again, that not all heroes wear badges and uniforms. I do have to say that, Robin, you in a dentist chair, showing up with a numb mouth, you are the first numbed hero that we've ever come across on this show. On behalf of all the residents that have been saved and brought to safety, thank you all, and we are honored to be in your presence.
As a small token of gratitude for the bravery of these heroes, Belfour is throwing them a big pizza party.
Let's feed every resident in this building and beyond. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, too. And thank you.
In terms of heroes, I feel that our maintenance guys definitely go above and beyond. They immediately responded to the fire. They immediately began the evacuation process to make sure that our seniors were safe.
We stepped up to the challenge. These seniors, we know they need our help, so we did what we had to do.
We really hope that you leave us today inspired by these stories of real and amazing heroes.
And let it also be a reminder that emergency preparation and planning can save you in a time of disaster.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time, right here on Hearts of Heroes.